monarchy will be shifting in a slightly different direction.
I think it's safe to say that change is...
The ballroom was prepared, the invitations had been approved, and Britain's most carefully managed royal gala was only hours away from welcoming its first guests. Then Prince William saw two names buried near the bottom of the final attendance list: Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. His expression hardened. The room fell silent, and with one decision that stunned every official present, the future king ordered the entire royal gala cancelled. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. William stood at the head of the briefing table, staring at the embossed papers as if they had betrayed him. The Royal Unity Gala, the monarchy's biggest charitable gathering of the year, uniting senior royals, military representatives, patrons and donors, carried his name and his promise of disciplined leadership. Yet someone had entered Harry and Meghan without his consent. The prince placed the list flat, circled both names, and looked at the event director. No one enters that ballroom tonight. His voice never rose. He instructed officials to contact every guest, cancel every arrival, and shut down an evening months in the making. Catherine watched her husband's jaw tighten. She understood why the discovery cut so deeply. William had promised that hidden palace maneuvers would no longer shape decisions carrying his reputation. Still, she asked whether canceling everything would punish hundreds who had done nothing wrong. William did not answer. Silence exposed the battle inside him. The future king knew charities would lose attention, donors would feel insulted, and staff would carry the blame. But allowing the evening to continue would make him appear powerless inside his own event. An aide turned the page and found something worse. Beside the Sussex names sat a senior authorization mark, a coded approval, used only by offices with direct access to the monarch's household. The original list had been cleared days earlier. Someone had reopened it, bypassed William, and inserted the couple afterward. Catherine examined the seating chart. Harry and Meghan had not been placed quietly at the edge. They were positioned close to William and Catherine, near the center of the royal table. This was no clerical mistake. It was a deliberate reunion, staged without consent. Before William could demand the name behind it, another aide entered with urgent news. The Sussexes had already received their invitations. They had accepted, and they were preparing to arrive. The gala may have been cancelled with a single command, but the two people at the center of the storm had already been promised something far greater than seats at a table. This was never merely a disagreement over a guest list. Behind those two names stood years of broken trust, televised accusations, private grief, and conversations that ended without forgiveness. William saw an ambush. Harry saw a possible return. Meghan saw recognition from an institution that had once rejected her. And Catherine, caught between duty and memory, understood that one evening could reopen every wound the family had struggled to conceal. William had built the Royal Unity Gala around a clear promise. The event was meant to represent his future model of monarchy, a disciplined, transparent, service-driven institution where duty came before private chaos. For the prince, allowing hidden hands to alter the guest list would destroy that promise before the evening had even begun. Harry understood the invitation differently. He read the cream card twice, slowly, as though one missed word might change its meaning. The Duke then passed it to Meghan, who studied the seating designation beside William and Catherine. "They would not place us there by accident," she said quietly. Her voice carried certainty, but beneath it sat years of rejection. Meghan saw more than a seat at a royal table. The Duchess viewed the invitation as formal acknowledgement that the palace could no longer erase her from major family occasions. Harry saw something even more personal. He allowed himself to imagine that his brother had finally opened a door neither man had known how to approach. Harry remembered walking beside William long before titles, interviews, and public bitterness had divided them. He imagined speaking to the future king without advisors shaping every sentence, without cameras waiting outside, and without carefully prepared statements protecting them from the truth. For one dangerous moment, hope felt stronger than suspicion. Catherine felt no such comfort. She closed the briefing room door and faced her husband alone. The princess warned that canceling the gala could appear cruel, even if the invitation had been issued without authority. Hundreds of guests would lose an important evening, while Harry and Meghan would see only another rejection. William held her gaze and answered with controlled anger. Appearing cruel could be survived, he said. Appearing powerless could not. The prince believed the Sussexes might have coordinated directly with someone inside the palace, while Harry remained convinced his brother had personally approved the invitation. Neither man understood that both were reacting to different versions of the same lie. Meghan unfolded a smaller card tucked inside her invitation. A handwritten message promised that her attendance would mark a new chapter. The note carried no signature, yet the paper came from the monarch's private stationery official writing paper, reserved for the king's closest correspondents. William immediately ordered the original invitation records retrieved. Minutes later, an aide returned with devastating news. One approval page had vanished from the palace archive. To understand why someone risked William's fury to place the Sussexes inside that ballroom, the palace would have to return to the night when reconciliation first became a weapon. Months before the cancelled gala, a private dinner at Clarence House changed the direction of the royal family. There were no cameras, no official minutes, and no public announcement. Yet one conversation that evening created the promise now tearing the palace apart. Harry's future was discussed. Meghan's return was debated. William issued a warning that no invitation should be offered without his consent. Someone listened, waited, and then quietly ignored him. Charles had called William, Catherine, Camilla, and several senior aides together because the family's silence had become impossible to ignore. Clarence House, the king's London residence, offered the privacy he needed. He wanted Harry restored to selected royal occasions without returning as a working royal, meaning the Duke could attend family events without carrying official duties. William understood the difference, but he did not trust the timing. The prince believed reconciliation had to begin privately, with honesty and accountability, before anyone tried to display unity in public. Charles saw that caution as emotional resistance. The king feared that every delayed conversation pushed Harry further beyond the family's reach. Charles finally spoke the words that changed everything. He wanted Harry and Meghan invited to the future Royal Unity Gala. The event was meant to present the monarchy as stable, united, and focused on service. William slowly set down his glass and told his father that no invitation could be issued until the brothers had spoken directly. Charles looked across the table and gave his assurance. No invitation would be sent behind William's back. The future king accepted the promise, though his expression remained guarded. Camilla said nothing. The queen consort lowered her eyes toward the seating notes beside her and studied them longer than anyone noticed. William felt trapped between duty and memory. He believed his father was asking him to risk another public humiliation simply to create the appearance of healing. Charles felt equally wounded. The monarch believed his eldest son was protecting the institution so fiercely that he had forgotten the suffering inside their own family. Catherine sensed the danger before the evening ended. She followed William into the corridor and told him the matter had not been settled. The princess had noticed the event secretary being asked to remain behind with Charles after everyone else departed. Her warning stayed with the prince long after they left. Charles then called the aide closer and issued a quieter instruction. He asked for contingency invitations to be prepared, unofficial documents held in reserve in case reconciliation suddenly became possible. The king believed he was preserving an option. Someone else would later treat those papers as permission. The authorization mark found on the final gala list matched the code used by the monarch's private office. William now knew the secret decision had begun that night. When the prince confronted Charles with the evidence, the king did not deny knowing about the invitations. He only refused to reveal who had sent them. The betrayal was no longer buried inside paperwork. It now stood between a king and his heir, demanding an answer neither man could give without tearing open the family. The doors closed, the aides withdrew, and for the first time since the guest list was discovered, William stood alone with the man who could have prevented everything. Charles remained beside his desk, one hand resting on the missing approval file. His son did not bow, soften his voice, or pretend this was a misunderstanding. He asked one question: "Did you invite them after giving me your word that you would not?" William carried the cancelled gala list, the seating plan, and a copy of Meghan's handwritten note. The approval file, the official record showing who authorized the invitation, lay beneath Charles's hand. No secretary remained to soften the exchange. No advisor could redirect it. This was no longer palace business. It was a father facing the son whose trust he had broken. Charles admitted he wanted Harry present. The king argued that the family could not remain divided forever, and believed the gala offered a controlled first step toward reconciliation. Hundreds of guests would be present, Every movement would be managed, and no private conversation would need to happen until both brothers were ready. William placed the documents on the desk and pushed them forward. Charles refused to touch them. The prince pointed to Meghan's seat beside Catherine and demanded to know who had authorized it. His father turned away, and that small movement carried more guilt than any spoken answer. William said Harry's attendance was not the deepest wound. The betrayal came from concealment. The event carried his authority, his charitable reputation, and his promise of a more disciplined monarchy. If people inside the household could overrule him in secret, then his leadership meant nothing before it had truly begun. Charles finally faced him. The monarch said William had become so guarded that soon there might be no path back for his brother at all. He feared losing Harry permanently. Worse, he feared watching both sons become strangers, while the crown demanded that he remain calm. William did not move. The future king understood his father's pain, but he refused to let grief become permission for deception. Charles then insisted he had approved only exploratory invitations, possible invitations prepared in advance, not final orders to attend. He had never authorized the seating arrangement or the handwritten promise of a new chapter. Charles revealed the rest through a documented account recorded by his private secretary. After he hesitated, someone from the royal household told the events office that full approval had been granted. His limited instruction had been expanded, sharpened, and turned into a command without his knowledge. William removed the gala insignia from his jacket and placed it on the desk. The emblem represented his authority over the event, and now it felt empty. He declared that the gala would remain cancelled until the palace identified who had manipulated them both. Outside the study, Camilla waited beside the private secretary. The queen consort already recognized the authorization code William was tracing. The confrontation exposed the king's weakness, but the real power behind the invitation had not come from the throne alone. Palace power rarely announces itself. It moves through initials and margins, whispered instructions, and orders passed through people who believe they are serving the crown. As William followed the invitation trail, he discovered that the Sussex names had traveled through 3 offices in a single afternoon. Each official believed the command came from someone above them. At the center stood one private conversation, one altered instruction, and one person determined to force reconciliation. William refused to leave the investigation to advisors. Gala invitations required approval from the host's office, royal security, the monarch's household, and the event committee, the group responsible for organizing guests, seating, and protocol. Changing the final list meant someone had influenced several departments at once. The prince no longer knew which office had followed instructions, and which had quietly rewritten them. The event director entered first, and answered every question with careful precision. William then called in the young assistant who had processed the late additions. She sat across from him with trembling hands, struggling to hold his gaze. The staff member admitted she believed rejecting the order would mean disobeying Charles himself. William asked her to open the electronic approval record. The assistant turned the screen toward him and revealed the exact change. The original instruction read, "Prepare possible invitations." Hours later, those words had become, "Issue confirmed invitations," and "Arrange principal seating." Someone had transformed a cautious option into a final royal command. Camilla entered before William could question the assistant further. The queen consort admitted speaking with the private secretary, after seeing how deeply Harry's absence had affected Charles. She feared the king would lose the courage to repair the family if another opportunity passed. In her mind, the gala offered one controlled chance to place father and son beneath the same roof. William's restraint broke. The future king told her that compassion did not grant permission to manipulate his event, damage his authority, or force a reunion through deception. Camilla fired back that his rigid control had turned every family gesture into a negotiation. She insisted that Charles was suffering while everyone waited for William to feel ready. William placed Meghan's handwritten note before her. Camilla denied writing the promise of a new chapter, and her shock appeared genuine when she recognized the monarch's private stationery. The queen consort had pushed the process forward, but someone else had carried it further. The records delivered one final blow. Meghan's team had already submitted wardrobe details, arrival arrangements, security requests, and press access requirements. The Sussexes had not treated the invitation as a rumor. They believed it was fully authorized. Across the Atlantic, the cancellation reached Harry. Hope vanished. Rage took its place. What began as a secret palace maneuver was now traveling across the Atlantic, where Harry was about to learn that the invitation he trusted had been taken away. Harry had already chosen the suit. Security had reviewed the route. Meghan's team had prepared for the moment she would walk into a royal ballroom again. Then the call came. The gala was cancelled, the invitation withdrawn, and no alternative meeting offered. For several seconds, the Duke said nothing. He stared at the cream card on the table, as though it had become evidence of a cruel joke. Then he asked who had made the decision. Harry and Meghan had treated the invitation as final because every detail appeared official. Travel plans had been discussed, security routes had been checked, clothing had been selected, and public messaging had been carefully prepared. The card carried palace approval, while the seating notice placed them near the senior royals. Nothing suggested uncertainty. A palace official delivered the cancellation in a controlled voice. The entire event, he said, had been abandoned because of irreconcilable concerns regarding authorization, meaning the palace could no longer agree on who had approved the guest list. He avoided William's name. That omission only made the silence heavier. Harry ended the call and placed the phone beside the invitation. The Duke picked up the seating card, looked at it once more, and tore it in half. Meghan remained standing near him, watching anger rise through the humiliation he was trying to hide. Harry believed his brother had cancelled a major charitable evening simply to keep him outside the palace. The thought cut deeper because the event was supposed to celebrate unity and service. To the Duke, William had chosen to destroy the entire occasion rather than share one room with him. Meghan's suspicion went further. The Duchess asked whether the invitation had been designed to lure them into preparing for a return before humiliating them publicly. She feared someone had wanted the world to watch them believe they were welcome, only to have the door closed at the final moment. Harry resisted. Accepting that possibility would mean Charles had allowed the trap to unfold. Then the king called. Charles admitted through the private telephone conversation that he had supported the possibility of Harry attending. The monarch apologized for the confusion, but explained that William had never approved the final arrangements. The guest list, seating plan, and handwritten promise had moved forward without the prince's consent. Harry listened without interrupting. The truth changed everything. William had not cancelled the gala because his brother had demanded entry. He had cancelled it after discovering that both men had been placed inside a decision neither had fully made. Consequences spread immediately. Donors demanded answers. International guests changed their travel plans, and palace employees received strict orders not to discuss why a finished gala had vanished from the calendar. Harry rejected the idea of issuing a public statement. Instead, the Duke asked for one thing: a private meeting with William. No advisors, no spouses, no palace officials between them. For years, the brothers had communicated through institutions, statements, and silence. Now they would have to face each other without any protection at all. There was no grand reconciliation, and no dramatic embrace. William entered first. Harry arrived minutes later. The room contained only 2 chairs, a small table, and the cancelled invitation lying between them. For the first time in years, neither man had an advisor waiting to shape his words. The future king looked at his younger brother and said he had not invited him. Harry answered that he had believed for one brief moment that he had. William had refused palace minutes, the official written record normally kept during important royal meetings, because he wanted no secretary turning pain into formal language. Harry demanded the same silence afterward. No statement, no briefing, no carefully chosen sentence released in either man's name. The brothers would speak directly or not speak at all. Harry slid the cream invitation across the table. The Duke watched William examine the handwriting, the seating details, and the unsigned message promising a new chapter. Surprise moved across his brother's face before discipline buried it. That reaction told Harry something no official explanation had managed to prove. The prince had never seen the card. William placed it down carefully and confirmed that he had approved none of it. He entered the meeting convinced his authority had been undermined and feared Harry and Meghan had helped create a public test he could not escape. The future king believed the gala would have forced him either to welcome them before the world or appear openly hostile. Harry felt the accusation, but anger did not come first. Hurt did. He admitted the invitation mattered because he thought William had finally chosen family over resentment. The Duke's voice faltered when he said he wanted his children to know their cousins without suspicion, hostility, or adults teaching them which names had become dangerous. William listened without interrupting. The prince answered that reconciliation could not begin through deception, because any peace created by manipulation would collapse the moment the truth emerged. Still, Harry's confession reached him. For once, his brother was not speaking through a memoir, interview, representative, or prepared announcement. He was simply speaking as the boy William had once protected. Harry then compared the handwritten note with an old confidential family letter. Both men recognized the phrase, "a new chapter." Someone had taken words from their private history and used them with brutal precision. The invitation had been designed to feel emotionally irresistible to Harry and politically impossible for William to accept. William refused to reinstate the gala. Instead, he offered a later private family meeting, under terms agreed directly between them, with no palace intermediary carrying messages. Harry accepted without calling it forgiveness. Harry left the invitation on the table. William folded it carefully and placed it inside the investigation file rather than destroying it. The brothers had not repaired their relationship, but for the first time they had identified the real enemy. Decisions made in their names without their consent. By evening, the ballroom lights remained on. The tables stood dressed, and hundreds of chairs faced a stage that no one would use. Outside the palace gates, reporters gathered beneath a cold sky as rumors hardened into headlines. The public did not see the private meeting between two brothers. It saw an empty royal venue, canceled flights, silent officials, and one astonishing fact: William had stopped the monarchy's grandest unity event because unity itself had been arranged through deception. The palace released a statement before midnight. The Royal Unity Gala had been cancelled because the final attendance arrangements did not meet the host's authorization requirements, meaning names had been confirmed without William's direct approval. The wording sounded controlled, but the consequences were not. Supporters praised the prince for defending clear boundaries. Critics accused him of allowing a family feud to overpower a major charitable evening. Mourning turned the cancellation into a national spectacle. One newspaper filled its front page with the abandoned ballroom beneath the headline, "The Gala That Never Began." Two empty chairs beside the royal table were circled in white, transforming Harry and Meghan's absence into the defining image of the night. Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace as workers removed floral displays from the entrance. The royal residence, used for official ceremonies and public duties, had become the center of an argument about family trust. One woman held a handwritten sign above the crowd. "Families must speak, not scheme." Reporters repeated the words until they became the simplest explanation of the entire crisis. Catherine watched the coverage privately beside William. The princess saw unopened decorations being carried away, and donors questioning why months of work had collapsed within hours. She told her husband that the cancellation had become more powerful than the gala could ever have been. William understood her meaning. The empty room now represented the price of manipulation. Charles read the newspaper without speaking. The king folded it carefully and admitted to Camilla that his desire to bring Harry home had allowed others to act without discipline. The queen consort heard the regret beneath his words. She had wanted movement, but urgency had turned compassion into interference. The palace inquiry soon reached its conclusion. Through a documented internal report, investigators traced Meghan's handwritten note to a senior household advisor, who believed placing the brothers together publicly would force reconciliation. The official had borrowed language from an old family letter and expanded Charles's cautious instruction into full approval. The report cleared Harry and Meghan of secretly adding themselves. They had accepted an invitation that looked genuine and had been misled alongside William. The truth ended one accusation, but it created a harder decision. Punishment could remove the person responsible. It could not repair a system where private grief had become official policy. The world had delivered its judgment on the cancelled night, but the final verdict belonged to William's, and it would determine what kind of king he intended to become. William did not restore the gala. He did not pretend the damage could be erased, and he did not reward the belief that family healing could be engineered through pressure. Instead, he gathered the senior household and announced a rule that would reshape every future royal event. No family member would ever again be invited, seated, promoted, or excluded in another royal's name without direct written consent. The cancelled gala became the last act of palace reconciliation, conducted through deception. William permanently cancelled the original Royal Unity Gala, rather than rebuilding it under the same damaged structure. The prince ordered direct financial support for every charity affected, ensuring that vulnerable causes would not pay for the palace's failure. The event was gone, but its purpose would survive without the spectacle. A new household protocol followed. Invitations involving non-working members of the family would now require written approval from the royal host, the monarch's office, and security. The protocol, a formal rule controlling how palace decisions are approved, closed the gap that had allowed private staff to turn uncertain wishes into official commands. William then met the senior advisor responsible for the handwritten note. The future king placed Harry's invitation on the table and spoke without anger. Good intentions, he said, did not excuse manipulating grief, hope, or family loyalty. The official offered no defense strong enough to survive those words and left the royal household. Camilla accepted her part in the failure. The Queen Consort admitted through a documented internal statement that she had pressured the private secretary to move faster than William had authorized. She had wanted to ease Charles's pain, but urgency had helped create deception. Charles faced his son without excuses. The king apologized for failing to protect William's authority and for allowing his desire to bring Harry home to overpower discipline. The prince accepted the apology, but he made one condition clear. Future family gestures had to become honest before they became public. William and Harry announced no reunion. The brothers kept the quieter agreement made between them. Future conversations would happen directly, without planted invitations, anonymous promises, or media staging. Harry and Meghan also received written confirmation that they had not been blamed for the unauthorized addition. Harry kept that letter. The Duke did not treat it as proof of victory. He kept it because, for once, his humiliation had been understood rather than dismissed. The empty ballroom had first appeared to represent failure. In the end, it represented something stronger. William had refused to build the monarchy's future on another carefully arranged lie. The gala never opened its doors, but its cancellation achieved what the event itself could not. It forced a father, two sons, and an entire palace to accept that genuine reconciliation begins only when manipulation ends. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.